All right. Hey, we got a pretty good corner coming in. Andre Jordan Jr. has signed. He's an Auburn Tiger.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes. Welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Got some good news, got some intriguing news. The intriguing news coming in later. Bryson Washington, the Baylor running back transfer, arrived on campus earlier today. And of course, Jeremiah Cobb, we haven't been able to talk about his official announcement yesterday. We'll touch on the Auburn running back news in a second. Andre Jordan Jr. really picked up steam towards the end of the work week. Daryl and I did a show yesterday saying that Daryl predicted last night. I said sometime this weekend. The point is, this felt imminent. This felt like a priority. And that is something that we needed to see from this staff. When somebody came in, when they were clearly a can't-miss player, not from USF, can you get the job done? And they did. They absolutely did. Andre Jordan Jr., when you look at his name on social media prior to today, I'm sure that's changed now with all the Auburn news, but when I was trying to learn more about this guy, when his name just erupted over the past few days, you can't find a list that he's not on when you talk about elite, especially from a Pro Football Focus standpoint, of all these rankings in the Big Ten. Like if you search his name, it was, top 10 Big Ten corners with allowed completion percentage or pass breakups or whatever that may be. And that's his thing. That's his thing, is the pass breakups. Had 10 pass breakups a year ago. Is what is kind of the fun number that's floating around. Pro Football Focus credits him with 7. So I don't know exactly where that number came from that I'm seeing, but whatever. Regardless, he's a solid player. I'm going to try to get Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer on. He hosts Locked On UCLA. I sent him the link. He should be hopping on in a few minutes, so you guys can ask him some questions as well in the chat. I think that'll be fun. But Andre Jordan Jr., I think he comes into a situation where he slots right in, and he's had quite the journey. When you think about, I guess when I thought about the original days of my opinion of the transfer portal, I pictured, guys from the Sun Belt kind of slowly moving their way up and getting their shot. This is a similar situation. I think he goes from Oregon State, played 2 years at Oregon State, and then spent last year at UCLA. And so now he goes to the SEC. I think that is a little bit interesting. And UCLA wasn't a very good team. So that's why I want to talk to Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer in a few minutes of Locked On UCLA to kind of get some context. I mean, obviously there's good players on bad teams. Sadly, we saw that firsthand last year. So he comes into a situation where we haven't heard officially from Champ Anthony and we haven't heard officially from Rayshon Pleasant, but the fact that there's silence makes me feel better about that than other guys. But regardless, you look at a situation where we're going to have this discussion assuming Champ Anthony and Rayshon Pleasant are coming back. So Andre Jordan Jr., I think, starts at corner this season. And then you look at Champ Anthony, Rayshon Pleasant. I think they could battle it out. Champ Anthony also has more positional versatility, could possibly scoot to the middle of the field. And then Blake Woodby, I think it's his time to potentially start at the other side of it. Let's bring in Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer, host of Locked On UCLA. Thank you. Short notice. Everyone in the chat, please say thank you to Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer, because he had maybe a 3-minute heads up that this was happening, and he did not have to do this, and you are here anyway. We appreciate it. Andre Jordan Jr., we are getting what out of this?
You're getting a pretty good corner. Last year, UCLA hit the portal heavy. They brought in about 5 to 6 corners in the portal. Andre Jordan Jr. was the one that truly shined in his time. The thing for Jordan Jr. is you might look at the early part of the season, his stats don't look so good because those first 3 games, UCLA, different defensive coordinator, they made the switch, and then Andre Jordan Jr. started the last 8 games, became a top 3 rated defender for UCLA according to Pro Football Focus at the collegiate levels. This is the guy who can be a shutdown corner, one of the most pass breakups in the Big Ten during league play, and that's a guy who didn't even start the first 4 games, so he's a playmaker, and one of the guys UCLA would have loved to keep is probably getting a nice little pay raise.
Yeah, I would assume so. So it's interesting. Normally, good corners, they don't have a lot of stats because they're able to throw and scheme away from that side of the field. So whenever you see a corner with a lot of stats, like a lot of pass breakups, some people are running with the stat 10 that I've seen. PFF gives them 7. Regardless, that's a good number. It's a good number. Yeah. So why is that? Because, I mean, PFF liked UCLA's other corner last year too, which funny enough, I think his last name is Pleasant. We've got a corner named Pleasant as well. Were they throwing away from him? Were they both pretty equal?
They were both pretty good. I think the biggest thing is UCLA's D-line, most of their defense was bad early. So they just couldn't get to the passer. So there was plenty of time for them to throw. So he was stuck in coverage for a long time during a large portion of games throughout the entire season. The Bruins couldn't get to the quarterback. That's been the problem since Deshaun Foster was the coach. Prior to that, they had NFLers. So if he had an NFL defensive line in front of him, maybe more plays could have been made. But you'll see highlights, namely the Maryland game. They went for it 4th and goal from the 1. They targeted Jordan, pass breakup, turnover on downs. You're going to see that over and over again. And when he got his opportunity, he shined. So when they were getting beat down by New Mexico, UNLV, he wasn't starting those games. He started the last 8. UCLA played a lot better those last 8 outside of a couple. So I think the big thing is Roderick Pleasant was big, yes, but he also struggled with injury. Jordan Jr. made the most of his opportunity and was the most consistent down the stretch.
If anyone has any questions about Andre Jordan Jr. for Zach Anderson Yoxheimer, put it in the chat. We'll try to get a few of those if that makes sense. Don't ask him about the proper way to spell Zach. We're leaving that debate behind us for today. Just today is about Andre Jordan Jr. So he didn't start at the beginning of the year. Didn't have as heavy of a role.
He played all 12 games. The last 8 he started.
Okay,
and that was the first
there any,
couple of games.
Concern or discussion about that?
I mean, they brought in 9 DBs in the portal last season.
Yeah,
and there's about 6 corners, so they're filtering through a lot of guys. They had a new DBs coach. The big thing this offseason, UCLA's DB's coach left. And the other thing was the DB's coach's son was on the UCLA roster. So there's probably, some playing time there, although his son, Cole Martin, was more of a safety. So there was a lot of guys to weed through. And the Bruins were probably the story, more embarrassing, but the story of this early part of the season in 2025, and it wasn't for good reasons. So by the time he got more of a starting role, they threw out the playbook. It wasn't a Kaika Malloy's playbook, who's now at Penn State. It was Kevin Coyle, who would bring a little more pressure. And the Bruins looked like a better defensive unit than when they were getting beat down by New Mexico, or UNLV was up by almost 20 in the first half, or Utah ran on him. They started trying to pick apart the defense, and he was making some nice plays.
We got a question from Landon, says, thank you, Zach, for coming on Locked on Auburn. My number 1 question is, can he be a true number 1 corner? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure I'm ready to go say he's the number 1 corner, but he is competitive. He can make plays. And when he was targeted again and again, he showed that with limited defensive presence in front of him, he can make the plays. Now imagine if the quarterback's actually under duress, if he's going to throw up a floating duck, then literally he can go make a play. So you might not see big interception numbers, but he's been able to break up the pass, make big plays. Just wait until he actually had good linebackers, good D linemen in front of him. And if Auburn's going to do that, then this guy can make even bigger, more impactful plays in the 2026 season.
Yeah. So transferring from Oregon State to UCLA, one of the many that came in, now UCLA to Auburn. So it's always interesting, like what's important for these guys. Like, is it fit? Is it NIL money? Is it to compete for a championship? That's always like, this can't be playing time, right? I would imagine he would have been a sure thing.
He would be top tier. If you're trying to compare him to Roderick Pleasant, right? Another guy who had big numbers. Pleasant, his tie to UCLA is he's also on the track team. He's really fast. So he plays 2 sports at UCLA. While Jordan Jr., I would think, is probably looking for one, his DB's coach is gone. It's a new staff. And then obviously, you think the financial impact makes a big change. While UCLA is going through different things, he's like, Well, UCLA wasn't the most easy to sit through last year, whether it was watching it from my perspective, maybe sitting through that culture. There's a lot of changing pieces. It's getting better.
Podcast about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little rough at times, but obviously he wasn't part of
I'm with you.
It wasn't like he was part of the full Nico circus. He was on defense, but I think for him, it's a greater opportunity, a chance to move on, move elsewhere. And if his coach is gone, a bunch of the UCLA DBs were the first to announce they're going in the portal. At least 4 or 5 of them did. Now, a few of them have actually said they're returning despite their intention to enter. And one of the biggest returns was Roger Pleasant. But I think with him being more of a two-sport athlete, more dynamic, a little quicker, UCLA focused more on him, while Andre Jordan Jr., clearly just as good, a little healthier down the stretch. I think he was like, I'm going to do the best for my own interest, and that's where he found himself to Auburn.
Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer, Locked On UCLA. Thank you so much for your time. For all the folks watching, how can they check out all of your UCLA action?
Yeah, just go to Locked On UCLA on YouTube. Go check it out on all audio platforms, and go to, ironically, Locked On Bruins for the X account, where we're retweeting everything for transfer portal, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's remnants of the old name still just hanging around. That's all that is. That's all that is. Hey, thank you so much, buddy. Once again, he did this on like a super, super short notice. That is Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer, host of Locked On UCLA, joining us. I'll be sure to shoot him a note. That was super, super kind of him to do that. More chatter about Auburn's DBs, but also the running back situation got more interesting over the last 24 hours since we've done a show. That's all coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And look, you can bet on the national championship. You can bet on the NFL playoffs. You can bet on Auburn basketball, who I'm shocked by this. They're favored today against Arkansas. How? Why? I don't know. The line keeps moving in Auburn's direction. It was 1.5. Now it's 2.5 according to our friends at FanDuel. I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands, but if you want to get on the action one way or the other there, you could do it. FanDuel is the best place to get it on the action all season long. Visit FanDuel.com to get in on the action today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day, even on a Saturday, a portal Saturday. It's a big Saturday. I think more might be coming, folks. I really, really do. I really do. All right, we'll circle back to the Andre Jordan Jr. news in a second. Yesterday, we finally got the post. We finally got the report that Jeremiah Cobb, the locked in, it's not locked on, but locked in, that Auburn football is posting of Jeremiah Cobb. So, okay, finally he's coming back. Finally he's coming back. We all assumed it. It does sound like that was more up in the air than we thought, that I thought. And so I'm glad that this was the product, the final result there. But shortly after reports of a pretty talented, a guy that we got to see firsthand and talk about all offseason because we played in week 1 when we went to Waco. But Baylor running back transfer, Bryson Washington, he's in Auburn. If you're watching this live, he is on campus or within Auburn city limits right now. And how often did we talk about how impressive he was all last offseason going into that? Now, Auburn's defense held him in check. They did a good job forcing Baylor and Sawyer Robertson to have to pass and throw the football. But that doesn't take away that Bryson Washington is a good running back. It is a little interesting, though, because, okay, do you need another guy like that? This staff likes Davenport. They like Davenport, who they brought in from USF. When that was added, I'm like, okay, could he be the 2/3 with Cobb and then Davenport and Mabson behind him? Like, yeah, I think so. Washington becomes interesting because I think you have 1A and 1B. If Washington does get here, that's Cobb and Washington, 1A and 1B. And I think 2A and 2B would be Davenport and Mabson, which is great. And we talked about the scholarship numbers a little bit. Yes, you've lost Darrell Robinson. You also lost Damari Austin in the middle of the season, which seems like he's trending to UCF, which could be fun. I think he actually could dominate in the Big 12. So all that to say, from a number standpoint, it does make sense. From a bringing a guy in to compete with Cobb, I think is interesting. Also, when you get Cobb to say, yes, I am staying. If you told me Auburn's running back room was Cobb, Washington, Davenport, Mabson, and Henderson, I said, yeah, sign me up. Let's go. That'd be electric. The fact that you're able to pull that off while keeping Jeremiah Cobb happy is, I mean, nobody has been more loyal to Auburn on this team. I think I'm comfortable saying this. I'm looking. Has there been someone who's been more loyal to Auburn than Jeremiah Cobb on this roster? Nope. Nope. I'm comfortable saying that. Every time a portal window's up, he has waited. He has waited. Heck, I don't know if they really planned on letting this be his running back room last year. But Damari got hurt and he took the reins and didn't give the job back. And then how Damari responded, got Damari off the team. I mean, to me, I don't think anyone has been more loyal to Auburn than Jeremiah Cobb. I hope this staff, who's only been here for a few weeks, months, however long it's been, I hope they recognize that. I mean, Cobb has been loyal through and through. Cam brings up, Cam2664 says maybe Bryce Kane. He's been loyal as well. Yes, less time, but sure, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Well, Bryce Kane would be a redshirt sophomore, right? So it's only 2 years. He only sat for really 1 year. But yeah, that's fine. Bryce Kane there too. Sure. So love that for Jeremiah Cobb. Hope he gets the shot, and we'll see what happens with Washington. And regardless of if they get him or not, once again, the transfer running back from Baylor, this does show that they're not done with the running back room yet. And I don't think that's an indictment on what they think about Cobb. I think they want 5 reliable scholarship running backs. And Alvin Henderson does fit in here somewhere. I don't know where. He fits in, but he does fit in. So, yeah, and I love all the love and recognition happening in the chat for Jeremiah Cobb. He deserves every ounce of it. Brad Law talks about this a lot with Village Vice. Like, you talk about legacy. Like, all these guys who have been loyal to Auburn then leave, like, you lose all of that. Jeremiah Cobb could come back for the rest of his life here and be loved and be welcomed, and everyone know that in this portal era, he is Auburn through and through. I think Brandon Frazier, who's gone now, but I think Brandon Frazier deserves all that too. I think he's in that same category as far as just guys in this portal window. Everybody wants to focus on the new and talk about all the negatives and how bad this is for college football, which I'm not going to push back against. But we also could do a better job of highlighting the guys who choose to stay and be loyal. So there we go. All right. Any questions, any comments? I'm trying to think of other things we haven't discussed on the show. Eric Singleton not entering the draft. That happened. Eric Singleton not entering the draft. He is now linked to Florida. I said early on in the window that I expected Eric Singleton to transfer to Florida. I said it, and then I'm like, oh, good, I'm wrong. He's going pro. That's much better for Auburn. And sadly, I might be right at the end of it, which I wanted to be wrong so bad. So bad. Landon Carroll, another good question. Do you have any intel on the whole Deuce Knight and DJ Lagway race to Ole Miss? DJ Lagway signed with Baylor, so I don't fully know what that question is. So Auburn will play DJ Lagway in the season opener. Did we get a new commit? Nate Johnson committed. Edge. Mizzou Edge. Oh, that's exciting. We're about to just look up his numbers together. Let's just do this together real quick. Man, we need an edge guy. Goodness gracious, did we need an edge guy? That was going to be my big, I was going to do an updated list at the end of the day on updated positions of needs, because I'm kind of expecting more offensive linemen today. And it was going to be like, okay, where are the edge guys? Where are the edge guys? So Nate Johnson was, if you care about defensive grades for Pro Football Focus, he was the 6th highest rated defender, and the top guy played 43 snaps. So really like the 5th best defender according to Pro Football Focus on Missouri's defense, who was solid last year, and he moved around the line a bunch, but primarily on the edge. But he did play some end as well, which we need guys who can do both. 6'5", 252. Yeah, great. Goodness gracious, did we need that? So now the edge room is Nate Johnson, Jared Smith, Joe Phillips, JJ Falk. That's pending. He hasn't made an official announcement yet. And then Chris Wells, the freshman. Awesome. Great. What a win. What a good day, everyone. What a good day. I'll probably do a specific show on him later, more on Nate Johnson. It's funny because a lot of our guys have gone to Mizzou. It's about time we took one of their guys. A few people asking for a card. I don't have any like within reach right here. Have I shown Tahad Pettiford yet? Have I shown this one? True Tahad Pettiford auto, number to 15, PSA 10. That's all I got around me. And I've got a Carry On Johnson rookie auto. Found that for like $2. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. That's super cool. Thank y'all for asking. All right, guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And we will see you guys later today. The Barncast will be live throughout the entirety of Auburn basketball. And then after the game, Daryl will join me from Neville Arena, and we'll be live recapping Auburn and Arkansas. Goodness gracious, I hope we win. Goodness gracious, I hope the Tigers win. If not, we can all just have a therapy session together. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.